Hamza, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Nurses, it's laid out their point quite well. Your government has been in power since January, and a lot of these matters were clear from January. Why didn't we include them in the budget that was read in March?
I think, first of all, good morning to you, my brother, and our cherished viewers out there, and of course, Richard and Franklin. You see, these are legitimate inquiries to be made, but I think that listening to the health minister and his PRO, it was quite clear that many of these things happened largely because of the internal wrangling that characterized the negotiation process, even before this government assumed office. And Senior, you know, as a matter of fact, that when it comes to the preparation of budgets, it really doesn't start with an inception of a new government. The discussions and many of these departments started preparing their budgets even before His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama was sworn into office. And I like the point my brother made, where he made reference to the technical team. I would want to see evidence of where our technical officers at the Ministry of Finance, where that attention was brought, where that fact was brought to the attention of government. I don't think that there's such evidence that it was brought to the attention of government. Yes, I do not think
that government didn't know about this.
It is not to say that government did not know about it. Remember that even when His Excellency President Mahama was sworn into office and he appeared before the Parliament to present his first State of the Nation address, he indicated how unsustainable our economic indicators were. And the likely impact it was going to have on expenditure, especially 2025. That was not hidden. What that simply meant was that there were certain expenditure items that we needed to have a second relook at, especially at the back of the mountain debts that was inherited by this government. We needed that economic space to be able to at least clean the economic sector, put the nation back on a sustainable path when it comes to our economic performance, to be able to meet many of these demands, including that of the agreement of the nurses. And per the information I have, and this of course is in a position to tell me whether it's accurate or not, my information is that this is not the first time that government have to engage them for a postponement of such an agreement.
This particular government?
Yes, not this government, not this government. I think in the past, somewhere 2020 or 2022, government had to engage them in many of their demands, largely because of the fallout of COVID.
But this particular condition of service was signed.
No, I'm not talking in relation to this particular condition of
historically,
service. Yes, historically. There has been that kind of engagement where they have had to back down in terms of the demands they were placing on government, largely because of the economic situation at the time. I think somewhere 2020 or 2022. And so that is why I'm saying that he's in a position to determine. So yes,
he's shaking his head in the negative.
Yes, well, but
he will deal with it later.
My information from many of his colleagues indicate that indeed we had such a situation where even Madam Perpetual herself had to engage many of health workers in that sector, assuring them that these are the assurances from government, and that with the appropriate measures put in place, government will be able to get the economy back on its feet and be able to respond to many of these demands. Not necessarily what is contained in the current agreement. So that history is there. That history of engagement is there. What made it a little bit uncomfortable for me, in all honesty, has to do with the posture we all took. Not just the nurses.
Government as well.
You simply cannot. You see, we are...
The government said they could remain on strike. They will go and bring retired nurses to come and do their work.
I think that was not the communication from government. I listened to the press conference organized by the minister responsible for health, where he presented a situation that it was going to be extremely difficult, considering our financial space, for government to entertain it this year, and was only seeking for an extension of implementation in terms of the, I think, moving it from this year to somewhere next year, where the economic space would have been created. So that was the arrangement. But he also proceeded to say that in the meantime, it is the responsibility of government to ensure that we take care of the many lives that were under threat in our hospitals. And so as a stopgap measure, government made an appeal to retired nurses to come on board and support, and not just to retired nurses, even to many of his colleagues who were willing to support the process. They were all invited to come on board. So it is not as if government did not want to listen to them. Government was simply not in a financial situation to be able to engage with them meaningfully.
See, Hamza, if for example, government knows that it doesn't have fiscal space to contain or accommodate their demands, why didn't government inform them? Why did they have to wait and later discover that the agreement they had, after all, is not in the budget?
Absolutely. But you see, that is why you are listening to him. The briefing we have from the minister responsible for health and that of the Minister of Health in particular is quite clear that those difficulties were communicated to their leadership.
That indeed this budget you will not be
accommodated. Yes, so you realize that is why I'm telling you that we are all, it was quite clear. That is why the expenditure item was not identifiable in the budget. It was clear.
Because he said it came to them as a shock.
Yes, so but that is the point I'm making. He said that they have had several meetings with government, some official, some unofficial. But from where I sit and based on the information I have, I am also privileged with an information that indicates that indeed at every step of the way, government indicated the difficulty in which it found itself. But you see, the reason why I'm saying that this situation was avoidable it has to do with the fact that, you see, Senior, for me, I think that we needed to engage more with each other. But at a point, our friends decided to move away from the negotiation table. Even when the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission called, they were unwilling.
So there was nothing on the table. So,
no, so see, when you are going to negotiate,
if you want to engage, you put something on the table.
No, that is not how you know. You know, as a legal practitioner, that is not how.
100. You come with 100, and I come with 0.
No, I can come with 0. I can come with 0, and you can also come with 0. But maybe at the end of the negotiation process, you would have gone out with 50-50. It happens all the time. We have been through this, Senior. You know this as a matter of fact. So the most important point is that there should have been more meaningful engagement, even especially at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission level.
I see.
Because that is an institutional creature. But I don't blame them. And in all honesty, I don't blame them.
You blame who?
No, you see, I think that I agree with him to a very large extent when he said that our system needs to be looked at.
But look at some of the things he says. For example, a nurse. There are nurses who contract serious ailments.
I'll get there. You see,
they don't have any.
That is why I'm surprised that our nurses seem not to appreciate the angle this government is coming from. You see, Senior, somewhere in August 2024, before the general election, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama had cause to complain about the difficult situation health workers find themselves, especially when it comes to service delivery. And promised at the back of that at Winneba, when we're launching our manifesto, that we're going to incentivize that sector by ensuring that we make some monies available to take care of nurses who are willing to accept posting to rural communities. Okay. So it is part of the NDC manifesto. And I refer you to zero.
So the rural incentive allowance perhaps is being captured in
yes. So that's what I'm telling you.
Let me go on Zoom. I'll come back to
this is important. I beg you. This is important. This is important. You see, if you look at page 108 of the NDC's manifesto, we indicated that he spoke about the risks that they are exposed to.
But you see, the manifesto was a promise. Now,
yes, but that is the point I'm making. You see,
so we want to see the rubber meet the road.
You will see it, but that is the reason why I'm saying that if they had taken their time and engaged more productively with us, they would have come to appreciate that in principle, the government is not against their demands.
But the government date is the issue.
Exactly.
Very well.
So it is not, their demands are not out of the ordinary as far as we are concerned as a government. These are things that we believe that they demand, they require to at least deliver service. And not just them. We complain about the public sector wage system and the fact that it doesn't really look satisfactory enough. And so there's already a commitment on the part of this government to make sure that we look at many of these things holistically. So that is why I'm telling him that, look, all the concerns you have raised here, these concerns are not new to the National Democratic Congress. We have a 4-year mandate. We can understand the urgency with which you need many of these things implemented.
Very well.
But what we are seeking to do is simply to engage you further so that we can even present you an elaborate system that can be satisfactory enough by next year.
Very well.
These are all the concerns we have.
Let me talk to you.
And so it is important to thank them in any case for agreeing to suspend the strike. At least that is what we expected in the first place. I can assure them that this government is more than willing to engage further.
Very well. Richard.